Hey guys, it's EJ. Alright, today I'm going to do my tier list. Alright, I'm sure there's a lot of tier lists out there, but as a Shadow Priest and a support based class, I play with a lot of different comps, a lot of different specializations, fighting against a lot of specializations, fighting in solo shuffle, XYZ. So this is what I feel is the strongest classes, and I am going to keep in mind there is tuning coming. So I'm gonna place them based on that. All right. So I'm gonna try to base this off of the Tuesday coming up. So when, in the comments, if you're like, oh, blah 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 blah, well, some people are getting nerfed, so that's where this tier list is gonna come from Tuesday on. Not and consider like not just now. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start off. I didn't put any tanks on here, as you know, we don't care about tanks in PvP. Mainly arenas, I should say. I haven't done a Battleground Blitz tier list yet, so I'll do that at some point. Um, let's go and start with Frosty K. All right, Frosty K got some nerfs and some sustain changes. They were super Giga Chad OP right before the changes in the nerfs came through, but after the changes in nerfs came through, I want to put them on A because their comps available can make them shine, but I think as a solo class, they're B. Um, I know a lot of people could say, "Oh, if you play The Walking Dead, you play." Sure, the comp is good, but the class is not the comp. Okay, so you got to keep that in mind. The class itself, in its inner core after the nerfs, I would say is like low A, high B. But for safety reasons, because there's only a couple comps they can play, and they struggle in solo shuffle without setup, I'm putting them as B. Unholy DK, despite Unholy DKs like to cry about their toolkit and their damage, with their tier set, their sustain damage, to me they're A. They do a lot of sustain damage, even though they got nerfed on their survivability. They still feel pretty tanky in the meta, and paired with the right things, they have a lot of comps available to them. Like for instance, DH right now is really insane. You can pair DH and Unholy DK. You can play Windwalker and Holy DK. You could play DK Evoker because there's a lot of comps they can actually play. DK SP actually seems pretty good. So for me, Unholy's A, Frost is B. Especially because they get their tier set, gives them a crap ton more damage on Death Coil too. So once DKs get their tier set, they're gonna be even stronger than they are now. So that's my DK rundown. I think Demon Hunter's S tier. All right, having Demon Hunter is S tier. Their damage is nutty. They have a lot of sustain with the double flips, and if they run that build, but in general, they feel tankier and they do so much sustain damage that they can just run healers down on their own. Um, Unlike in last season and in Dragonflight where they could die really quickly, they don't feel like they die at all. I don't know what changed, but they feel a lot tankier, but their damage just feels insane. Um, and then paired with a Boomkin. So speaking of Boomkin, I don't know where to put Boomkin at the moment. Some Boomkins I fight are insane, and some Boomkins I fight are just they flop. So I want to take this as a non-biased point of view. I want to take this as like what their toolkit brings to the table and comps available and individual power. I'm gonna say B, but I want to say low A. But A normally is just really good, right? Like I think Boomkin's good in the right comps, like with a Demon Hunter or Outlaw Rogue or even a Sub Rogue, because Sub Rogues do a lot of damage. But I just don't think as an individual class I can rate it A. And a lot of tier lists out there, especially if you see other people, other rank ones, they like to put their tier list based on what they comps they have available. And that's a part of it, but the class itself should not be revolved around what comps it has available. Agree to disagree? That's just my point. Your class shouldn't be based around your comps only, right? It's what if you don't play those comps? Then what is your class? That's how I see it. So I'm putting it on B. I'm gonna say it's no particular order, right? It's not gonna be like here is gonna be the best of B, or anything like that. I'm just gonna say this is the best of B. I'm changing it, but I'm just telling you it's the best of B. If I put something else in front of it, doesn't mean that's better than Boomkin. I just think at right now, Boomkin's gonna be the higher of the B tier classes. Feral S tier. I think feral damage is insane. Um, I don't know if it's a bug. Shadow Priest, let me know in the comments. I take full damage from feral druid bleeds in dispersion. Is I don't know what's going on with that. This happened before where bleeds would go through disperse and then they patched it at some point. But right now, if I disperse, I'm taking the full amount of bleed damage from feral druids. So if anyone else is having that issue, please let me know. I want to make sure I'm not going crazy. But outside of that, feral druid damage is just insane. Just like last season, a lot of spread. They can just swap on a dime, and they don't die as quickly as I would hope anymore. But they still are pretty squishy. I just wouldn't say they're that squishy. But they're elusive, right? They can get away, they can run, they can get away from a lot of the high tier comps or put them in bad positions, which can make their team more offensive. So, but just in general, their raw power, cyclones, bashes, being able to kite, raw bleed, and spread pressure. This is, I feel like pretty insane, and they have a lot of comps available to them. Augmentation and Evoker, I haven't seen a single one, so I don't know. I think I watched Van play like a round or two of it the other day, and he said it didn't look good. But outside of him, I've literally never seen one in a long time, like a couple seasons after it got nerfed. So yeah. Um, Evoker Dev. All right, so Dev Evoker to me is one of the better casters. I don't want to put it on S just because I think should be like the top of the top. I don't want a bunch of people on S. I'm gonna put it on A. I think it's better than Unholy DK and one of the better casters. It only has again a couple comps to it, which involve DKs. You can play BM or Marksman Dev. You can play Destro Dev. They have comps that are good to them. They just have a lot of elusiveness to the melee in the meta at the moment. And they seemingly don't seem to just get run over and die anymore. With the one button spam, you don't have to have a high skill cap to play the class. So I'm gonna put this on A. It's easier to play, has a lot of comps available to it, and it's just strong. Its simplicity makes it strong. So that's what I'm gonna put it on. BM Hunter, I'm struggling on this one. I feel like it could be S tier because of how much just raw damage it does. But into certain comps, I feel like it's not the strongest. So I'm going to say right now, as of so far, top of A tier. They have seemingly relenting damage. It just feels like you're always getting pelted with damage by them. And it's not like the craziest burst damage, which they do have some of that, but not compared to Marksman. But their consistent pressure seems to never stop. And it seems like it's a 2-button rotation. Barb shot, kill command, barb shot, kill command. So, kind of like Devastation Evoker, simplistic, easy rotation, but high sustain, can really throw people over, especially in things like Solo Shuffle, where dampening ramps up, and your team, whoever they decide to hit, it's the right answer, right? You're rotting in a Solo Shuffle, somebody goes to LOS, tab target, hits someone else. And doesn't seem to be the wrong answer. So for me, I think BM's really good. Marksman right now is insane. They didn't seem to get much nerfs, and their damage is just through the roof. Like I am happy that their aim shots can be a little bit faster cast, because if you global yourself, you take a 4 million aim shot and the rapid fire, and you're dead within like a second. So that's the changes that are coming through should help with that. But I still think they're going to be on the top of the ladder. I still think they're insane aim shots all the time on such a low cooldown, and with a low cooldown rapid fire, that combo consistently paired with any other DPS that has a stun or CC chain, they're gonna win. Like their damage is really high. So that's gonna be my thing. And they're paired with things like Feral Druids. You can pair them with a DK. You can pair them with a Warrior. You can pair them with a Evoker Lock. Like you can pair them with anything, and it's a good comp at the moment. So yeah, Survival Hunter. They're getting nerfed on their big random one shot, so I don't know where to put them. Okay, right now I'd say S tier, because they can just flank shot one shot you right now, but I don't know on Tuesday where I'm gonna put them. So I can't see them going too far down. So I'm just gonna put them on A for right now. Just because I still think they're gonna have an incredible pressure. I just don't know where they're gonna land compared to BM and Marksman. If they didn't get any changes, it'd be up here with Marksman and S tier, I think. Just the insane pressure they have with their coordinated assault, flanking strike, owl one shot thing. Um, that's just pretty nutty. I think all the hunters have a lot of damage right now. So I think I'm just gonna put it on the bottom of A as of Tuesday, and we'll see how the changes come through. Arcane Mage still feels really good to me. I feel like it's kind of like last season. They can just run the entire game, even with the temporal or not temporal, alter time nerfs. They have just a lot of elusiveness. They can get away. They can kite and run behind. It's like channeling behind pillars and just getting their damage out while running. But that being said, I think all of the mage specs are really good. But I guess that means, you know what? I don't think it's as good as Fire and Frost are now. So I'm actually going to put it down here at B. Just because I'm not the kind of person who puts everything on the same on A tier or S tier. I'm going to put it down here on B. Just because I think Fire and Frost are A tier to S tier. So I just seen a lot of Fire mages doing a crazy one-shots. I've seen a lot of Frost mages doing a lot of crazy one-shots. Arcane Mage is more of that sustain, but definitely a higher skill cap class. So I am going to put this down here at B. And I do think these two are around A to S based on who's playing them. I'm going to put them on A at the moment just because I think the Mage skill has a big determination on where you would place them. Like if you put like someone like Aegis or Hansel, you'd put them on S tier, right? But there's just plenty of other mages out there who play really good, but don't make it like absolutely just you press one button and you win scenario. So we're gonna put them down here with the A tiers, and yeah, I'm gonna put Unholy DK this way just for a second, just so people don't get like, oh no. Actually, you know what? Let's do it. Let's put them in my order of who's the best. A to S tier. I'm gonna put. Let's go put that out. I'm gonna put Feral and then Demon Hunter Marksman. I think we have BM, Survival, Evoker. I think it's gonna be like that. Wait, I messed up. Like that. Yeah. Okay, we're just gonna put it from what I think is the best, just so that when people look at it, I mean, it can go in order, like top of the A, top of the B. We'll just do it. I know I said I wasn't going to, but we're just gonna do it. That way, it looks cleaner. In this order, I think is how strong the classes are. Windwalker Monk S tier. I could be biased on this because I'm an SP, but I've literally seen people alt windwalkers, however I want to say it, just destroying people. Like low cooldowns, celestial one-shotting, just I don't know what people do into Windwalker, but they just seem to crush everything. Their damage is absolutely insane. If you don't have something to trade, you're just dead. Even if you had something to trade, you could still die through a wall. Windwalker is just so high octane, elusive, has a lot of defensives, port to port back, disarm, rob. Yeah, it just it's like the Demon Hunter, right? The Demon Hunter, but with burst, higher burst in my opinion. So we're gonna put it like this. Windwalker pairs well with a lot of things too, guys. So you can play so many comps with Windwalker, which just elevates its status. So Rhett's getting a buff. I would say Rhett's right now is like B tier. But on Tuesday, I think it should be A tier. I would assume it's going to be A tier to gain a lot of substantial buffs. Same rotation buffs, though. So they might be even S tier, but I don't know. Like I don't want to go from B to S off just some changes. So I'm just going to put an A. And again, I think it comes down to who the pally is. So we're going to put this on A also. All A tier means it's a great pick. It has survivability, it has damage, it has support. That's what I like to put on the A tier. It's not absolutely Giga Chad OP, but it does well into the meta, so that's what A tier's for. Shadow Priest, non-biased, could be S or A based on the SP. I'm going to put SP on S right now. I'm not going to be biased and be like, oh, it's bad. I think it's S tier. I think it pairs with every single possible class at the moment. Obviously, some are you don't want to play with, like enhancement shamans and stuff. But in Soul Shuffle, you can do a lot with any class on your team, unless you're queuing into warriors every day, like I am so far. Warriors. But like you can play Feral SP, you can play Feral Demon Hunter, you can play Feral Windwalker, you can play Feral Hunter, or why am I saying Feral? SP. Oh my god, I'm sorry. You can play SP Feral, SP Demon Hunter, SP Windwalker, and SP Hunters. You can play SP Evoker. God Comp might be one you don't play in threes, just because they are strong. But a lot of this gets when you play with the mage, you kind of stop CCing with polys as much, and you just do a lot of spread pressure swaps. So I would say maybe not with the mage, but I haven't played with the mage yet, so don't hold me to it. But my point being is SP pairs well with everything. We're not Giga OP, but we also aren't lacking for damage. Like we are, I think a lot of classes should be tuned around what SP currently is right now. A lot of damage, decent survivability unless you're getting pummeled by melee, but we are tanky to an extent, especially if you know how to juke and get precogs. But what makes us strong is we have individual kill power and closing power, and we have individual comps that we can lead that comp in, even if we're not the target. So like an SP and a lot of other expansions and seasons, if he's free casting, they're not doing it. It doesn't matter. Like it's like okay, SP's free casting. Now if an SP's free casting, you're melting a team. You kind of feel like the old style like Destro or like MLX. Like if one of those two casters were free casting, it was scary. SP in a comp that can free cast is scary. So you want to pair with those kind of comps, okay? But I'm gonna say non-biased. I think SP's in the perfect position. I think it's one of those classes that a lot of things should be molded around, where it's not one-shotting people, but it's not doing lack of damage, right? So I think it's, for me, I think it's an S tier spec right now. It does get countered, but not where it's like, oh, SP's just out of the meta. So I think SP's S tier, in my opinion. Assassination Rogue, I also think is the S tier of rogues right now. A lot of consistent pressure like last season. A lot of spread damage. They don't seem to die as fast, but they can if you swap to them. It really depends on who's using the rogue and how smart they are. I think just because of its pressure, I would put out an S tier alone because it pairs well with warlocks. It pairs well with shadow priests. It pairs well with a lot of. You probably pair well with an evoker, a boomkin. Again, it's a class that is multi-versatile and it does a lot of pressure. If it has a lot of pressure and it's not stoppable pressure, I feel like that should be up in the S tier. Outlaw, I've seen outlaws. Okay, so I've seen outlaws run over people in 2 seconds if it's someone like Trill or Calvish or Dazed or one of those people. They just so much control and they just one shot. But it requires a really good rogue. Not every rogue is going to be a Trill, right? Not every rogue is going to be a Calvish. So I don't want to put Outlaw Rogue on S because not every rogue is going to play like those. I am going to put it on A because of the simple fact that it does have a toolkit to make it A. Kind of like an SP has the toolkit to peel, has the support factor. I'm going to put this here on A. I'm going to put it on the bottom of A just because of the skill requirement for it. So we're going to put it down here. Subtlety has... Okay, I'm putting it on B, and I'm going to tell you why. Subtlety has insane pressure and insane burst and insane kill potential, but if you mess any of your goes up, especially without Shadowy Duel, you just lose. Like, a good rogue can one-shot you. Sure, I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to say that. I got one-shot by... Sure, you got one-shot by Peekaboo, you got one-shot by Calvish, you got one-shot by, again, Dazed, X, Y, or Z. Those are the rank ones. Those are the best. The average sub-rogue's not going to do that, right? Especially if you use cooldowns. So I don't use those guys as examples. Like, I saw this guy one-shot because the average won't. I'm going to say it can be an S tier with the right person, but the average rogue out there it's such a high skill cap class and a lot of people fall short of it. So in my opinion, it's down here in the B tiers because the average rogue on subtlety is going to mess up. And I feel like the other two rogues have a lot more capability of pressure or they don't get punished as hard. Like a bad outlaw rogue still has cooldown reduction, resets, peel potential, so they can mess up and still live. Sub rogues don't have that. They have their burst and then they're pretty much running or trying to do some sustain, but if they don't keep it up, they lose. So we're putting this on B. Ellie Shaman is also going to be B. They are getting buffs on Tuesday, which might make them go back to A. But at the moment, it just feels underwhelming, in my opinion, to be an Ellie Shaman, or at least fighting one compared to last season. So we'll have to see. But I want to assume, especially speaking with my buddy Spaghetti, that they're going to go up to A, at least A tier on Tuesday with the buffs that they're getting to their upfront damage instead of their overload. And that might make a big difference. So we're going to go ahead and put them here on B for now until we see those changes and see how much it really did affect them. Enhance the Shaman. Oh, that's a hard one. Enhance the Shaman is insane, in my opinion. I've seen some Enhance the Shamans do the most insane work right now, especially paired with a Warrior. But you could pair them with a Demo or a Destro Lock, and they still run over people. I don't think it's S. Because it is counterable and it is tradable. Like most, you can trade CDs with it. So we're gonna also put it down here into. We're gonna put it like this. We're gonna put it here in A. I think it pairs well with some decent classes, but also just its individual damage profile right now is really high. So yeah, we're gonna put it down here on A. Affilock, I'm gonna put it on. I'm gonna put it on S tier. I think it's probably right above. We're gonna move this down like this. Yeah, I think it's above SP. But I think SP and Marksman are kind of in the same position right now. But I think Affy's above SP when it comes to the S tier. It also pairs with every single class we're looking at. Like I've seen all the comps for it. I've seen Shadowplay, I've seen Lock Hunter, I've seen Lock Rogue, I've seen Lock Feral, I've seen Lock Demon Hunter, I've seen Lock Dev, I've seen Lock Mage. Every comp seems to run around at least some sort of lock specialization if it's a caster. Affy is just, in my opinion, more pressure than a SP at the moment, and it played right, it just doesn't die. So, especially with their tier set, so their pressure's just really high. SP's tier set, I don't know. I've seen some videos out there. I'm not calling anyone out. I don't know who thought SP's tier set was insane with a 2.5 second PI and a 50% effective Void Bolt. So a really low hitting Void Bolt. I think my tier set hits for like 0.5% to 1% of my total damage. I don't know who thought 2.5 second PI was insane in PvP. But compared to a lot of others, it is a very crappy tier set. It does give us some pressure if we get some decent procs, and Dark Ascension buffs the Void Bolt itself. But I wish we didn't have that nerf in PvP because it feels very underwhelming to get a proc and then in a global it's gone. Like your PI is gone. So that's really unfortunate. But compared to Affilock, that tier set with the spread and the increased damage is just insane on that. Like that's how I want that. Give me that. Give me a tier set that spreads my VT to everybody, or Devouring Plague or something. Like I want that. But yeah, Affy feels insane. Demo feels mid to me when it comes to the locks. I think it's the lowest of all the lock specs right now, in my opinion. I don't like the ramp up. It has good damage, but it's ramped damage, and there's a lot of micro CC in the meta, and I feel like it could just be stopped. So as of right now, I have to say it's B tier. I think it's around like Boomkin level right now, because it just gets outclassed by Affy and Destro. Destro SP is so good right now. Destro, Windwalker, Destro, pretty much again any of these two lock specs are being played right now, and if you look at the ladder, you'll see like the Destro just has insane kill potential, and Affy has insane spread pressure, and these two lock specs, in my opinion, are S tier. Like I love playing S play, so it's fun for me to play with these two specs. But I'm just gonna tell you, This is gonna be a crazy meta. I think it'll feel like it's gonna be Warlocks and Devastation Evokers paired with a melee all over the place. So we'll have to see how that goes. But that's my opinion. Again, I play with Warlocks. I play against Warlocks. Warlocks, a lot of them just get their damage out, and it's not punishing to get kicked as an Affilok, spam Malfuric Rapture. If you are a Destralock, you have a lot of instant damage, so double coils, one shot, stuff like that. So, yeah, I feel like these two deserve to be on S tier. So, actually, I think I'm gonna bring Assassination Rogue down. I don't think it's as strong as SP or Marksman. So, but I do think it's a top A. Yeah, we're gonna do like that. BM might be S tier also, but I think I don't want to put that many S tier classes. I think a lot of classes fall under A right now. So, uh, Fury and Arms. I've played WP Pally this season, and WPS this season, and we're at like 23 something MMR in threes. To me, both warrior specs feel really good, even after the nerfs. I don't I don't know, because Mortal Strike is still hitting for a crap ton. Demolish is hitting for a crap ton. Fury might be better? Or, I don't know. I'm going to say Fury's better because of the uptime, and Arms is high A. That's what I'm going to say. Fury, because Fury just feels insane. Playing against every single lobby I've had has had some sort of warrior. In Soul Shuffle or threes, I think like 80% of my games in threes have had a warrior, and I've done 7 or 8 Soul Shuffles, and every single round has had a warrior. Every one. Not a single one I've gone through so far has not had a warrior. Um, which says a lot. So I'm going to say we're gonna do. I want to put them both on S, but then I'm gonna get people saying, you have so many on S." I'm gonna leave it like this. I think Fury is up here. It pairs well with a lot of classes. You can play Fury DH. You can play Kitty Cleave. You can play Warrior Warlock. You can play Warrior Hunter. You play Turbo. You can play Ret Warrior. You can play. I mean, you play a lot of this. Again, you play so many comps. I think Fury's probably better than Arms. I would have to say, but Arms is not that far behind. Um, I think this is fair. I'm trying to look over it again to make sure if anyone has a. We're gonna put Ret on B for now. I just don't know. Again, on Tuesday, I think it's gonna be A, but I don't know if the damage is gonna be that much higher. So I think I'm gonna put it down here on A for now. We'll put it top of A for now, and we'll see how that goes. Or B, sorry, on B for now, and we'll see how that goes. So you guys let me know what you guys think. This is just based on what I've queued into, what I've played. This kind of feels like a mop season to me. All specs and classes feel really good, and they all have their niche, right? So like, even though Boomkin's B, Boomkin can pair with any of these S or A and have a glad rank 1 comp, right? So same with Warlock, same with DK, same with Shadow Priest. Like, you can pair with a lot of these classes and still be glad and rank 1 viable. So I just feel like it's a fun meta so far. I personally have been enjoying it outside of queuing to Warriors every lobby and having to try my butt off to not die. But outside of that, the threes meta, and it's just, I don't know, the pacing feels, for me personally, fun. Healers do heal a little bit too much in my opinion. Don't hate me, healers. But this is just my thought process, okay? What I feel with the changes coming in, and the pairings of DPS. So let me know what you guys think, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.